Swinton Lock, and this is, we've got now after here just the flood lock and then Eastward, and then we're in Rotherham. Kilnhurst is usually fairly easy. Eastward Lock, bit of a bastard sometimes, but there might be a volunteer lockie on. It'll probably be a bit late by the time we get there for a volunteer lockie, but there you go. Now that was a very, very nice surprise, just sailing down there. For people who want to know, have a little look. It's almost next door to Lidl. I don't know how that translates on roads and stuff. Do you, Marley? Do you? No, it doesn't look like it. All right. But on canal, it's literally kind of next to Lidl. And what a lovely little find. I do wish them well. And I firmly believe the future is in breweries about that size. So people, get out there and support little breweries like that, like St Mars of the Desert and Harrison's Brewery in Retford, because you're actually then putting money directly into your local community and not supporting the likes of the big Heinekens, etc. and Coors, who have no other motivation than profit and proffering putrid piss. See what I did there? It's almost poetic. Right, we're onward now to Kilnhurst Floodlock, and this is Swinton Lock. It used to be known as Waddington's Lock, and it used to have loads of huge, great, big commercial barges. Unfortunately, those days are gone. There's only one left, which I think is Resilience over there. George Dyson's gone. All of the others over the years have gone. It's a part of the changing face of the waterways, unfortunately. There is not really a future for waterways businesses. But as long as you get kind of like that, next to the canal, just like Chris Harrison Hawke's place in Retford, right next to the canal, brilliant. That's it's nice, poetic justice, the way it should be. Where that spray off the Trent has still left marks on the front windows. I'll have to get me woman to clean these, he said, knowing that she's not listening. I after so many years of being the driver, it's actually really nice being inside, just doing the Lord of the Manor thing. I'm not really, actually. I'm copying loads of files, backing them up. All the videos, these videos like what you is watching now, are backed up onto the laptop and onto one of these. That's a Western Digital My Passport thing, which is also a power bank, and it backs up your SD cards and all that. The thing is, and that's, yeah, this is the reality now, I think, of digital media. I've bought a real camera. I think I've used it once or twice on this trip, so no need really for you know, things like automatic backups. This has got, if you put your SD card in there, from your camera, that just automatically backs it up. You don't have to do anything. So you don't have to, you know, you could just have that in your pocket, pop your SD card in. You don't need to tell it copy or anything, it just does it. But all I've used pretty much on this whole trip, and you know, not ashamed to admit it because I think it's pretty good quality, is this phone. This is a Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus thing, I think, something like that. That'll be Charlotte slowing down for fishermen again. No, it's not. That's Charlotte slowing down because we've actually got to the lock stand. Oops, I've got to go and do some work now. Now, this is a rather interesting little structure. The lock stage is on the sort of like side of the lock. The lock is over there. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, and in the floods that we had, whenever it was, this lock landing stage got completely washed away. So Canal and River Trust had to quite quickly get this lot here to come and put this temporary lock stage in. As with many things, they're paying a significant amount to hire that temporary lock stage. I saw an email about 2 months ago saying that they're going to leave it there. So rather than actually replacing it, they're going to carry on hiring a temporary one. I don't know whether that might have changed now, but that was certainly the plan at the time. Was just, it's easier to carry on renting that than it is for us to replace it with a permanent structure, what we don't have to keep paying for in rent. Right, this is Old Walk, which most people, most boaters call Aardvark. Aardvark lock, and it's one of several in Rotherham. There's two large ones. This is kind of the last stage of the commercial part of the Sheffield and South Yorkshire navigation. The tanker goes through here and then through Eastwood and then moors up next to Tully's Boatyard. That's why these big locks are big locks. Then the other two, so there's this one, Old Walk, Aardvark, Old Walk, Eastwood, and then the two smaller ones are, well actually, no, anyway, the two smaller ones are Ickles and Holmes. Now, that being said, I'm not sure where Rotherham becomes Sheffield, because then there's all the locks on the Tinsley Flight. I suspect that at least Halfpenny Bridge, I suspect some of those are in legally, as it were, geographically, legally in Rotherham, but it doesn't really matter. Stop whittering, Bailey. Nobody's interested where the fucking locks are. You know that if I've timed this wrong, for experience I know pretty much how long it takes to get these gates opening, but if I have timed this wrong, you know that I'm going to have to edit this out. Fucking got it wrong. You fucking cock. My timing was right, my positioning was wrong. As I always say, it's a good reason they're made of metal. Fuck me, I really must edit that out. Now, I don't know, you know, you see in quite a few of these lock gates lots of flora and fauna growing, and I made this observation last year on the Rochdale Canal. I'm fairly convinced that in the longer term they will damage the integrity of the lock gate, but I might be wrong, and I'm sure someone will correct me if I am. You just catch the glimpse there of those. See, that's what tends to happen when you're on a boating trip. There are some times, like where it gets right boring and you end up just sat on the back eating biscuits and drinking strong coffee. Because I have a rule about booze. I try as much as possible to wait until the sun is over the yardarm. I know someone's going to comment, the sun's always over the yardarm somewhere. But 7 o'clock usually is where I will start. And today, in an attempt to save some of my Harrison's Brewery stash, I have been out and bought some other cans, so I stand a little bit of a chance of getting some of the Harrison's Brewery proof of concept back to Sheffield. Right, so we're at Aardvark. Rotherham! You wouldn't believe it, but this is sailing through the centre of Rotherham. I actually think it's a rather nice little piece of canal. It's actually the River Don bit that we're on at the moment, but back there is Rotherham Town Lock, where the court used to be. And the beers on here, I've got them out of the freezer because, again, what I managed to do was I put my little beer fridge on. Well, I say little beer fridge, it's actually an Engel 12 volt 3-star freezer. And I've nearly frozen all my fucking beer again. But anyway, I was getting low on beer because I bought a load of Triple Point with me. That's all gone. And then I bought a load from Chris, proof of concept, but I want to try and save some of that. I don't want to get, yeah, I bought 24 cans, that could very easily have gone in the last couple of days, believe me. So in order to preserve some of the proof of concept for, like, you know, when Si comes up next and all that sort of thing, I went out today. I also came away with some Vocation, obviously, but this is just too strong for just normal drinking. So I went in search of some beer in Doncaster, and there was I saw a little bottle shop in this sort of like quite, I don't know what you call it, sort of like trendy eatery stroke shoppy stroke thing near the market called Glug. Little bottle shop, looked brilliant. Got there, fucking shut down. Just probably another casualty of COVID. Little shops like that just don't have the financial reserve. And if you're in like a different, you know, if you take a stall in a market or something, you don't qualify for the small business rate relief, so they wouldn't have got the £10,000. Terrible. So felt really sorry for them. Had a little look around Doncaster to find somewhere else. Nothing. So these, yeah, all right. Neck oil, had that before. Haven't tried any of the Anarchy stuff before. Haven't tried that before. Northern Brewery, yeah, tried some of their stuff before. So I thought, right, okay, but you know what, Marks and Spencer's, and I it pains me greatly not to be able to find little independent bottle shops. It's a tragedy. So yeah, Marks and Spencer's, but it will save some of that excellent proof of concept that I got from Chris, and I won't get totally slaughtered by drinking this. I think that's about 9-10%, something stupid vocation. It is beautiful though, and I also got some of the Hypnosis. I meant to give Chris a can of this along with a Hypnosis, 9.7%. Jesus God. But I forgot I bought them all, so I gave him a Hypnosis. I didn't give him one of these ones. But there we go. Rotherham isn't, anyway, so what, get back to where I started before I started talking about beer. Rotherham, this is the canal in Rotherham, and I think it's beautiful. It's right next, that's the football ground, the new York Stadium. We've got the attraction of some children. How lovely. I don't suppose they see many boats coming up and down here. So there we go. We're in Rotherham, and I've saved my proof of concept, and I'm about to get stuck into one of those others, and I'm not sure what yet. I think I'll get the neck oil out of the way. I used to really like that brewery, but I don't know, I'm not sure now. I think it's lost a bit of its magic. But I'll be interested to see what the Anarchy Brew Co stuff is like. Anyway, Rotherham, here we are. That's it, pretty much. Now, almost time to moor up for the night. The final day. This is Holmes Lock, just a little bit further down from where we moored. In these broad locks, you could rope up, or you could just do this, which is let the boat have a little bump on the side, and in a second this will swing back over here. All anyone has to do is make sure that as you come up, the back of your boat doesn't get stuck under one of those footways. That's how you manage to break your tiller pins or possibly even sink your boat, because it's just the same coming up as it is going down. Ideally you want the boat to be level in the lock, not one bit lower and the other bit higher, because that's when water manages to come in and turn your boat into a submarine. Right, so what can you say about this trip apart from fucking fantastic? We've had the best weather that we could have expected for this time of year. We've discovered two new breweries. Well, we've discovered a brewery that we knew about, which was Chris's, Harrison's Brewery, down in Retford, and that's been a quest for quite some time, hasn't it, Marley? Marley? Not bothered, he knows that Charlotte's gone inside, so he's worried that the food giver has disappeared. And then we found this Gorilla Brewery, which is a brand new brewery, just on their first two brews, out there in wherever it is, Gainsborough or whatever, next to Lidl. So perfect little holiday, bloody lovely weather, good food, good friends. Fucking hell, what, tick all those boxes or what? Brilliant, fantastic. Onward now to Sheffield. This is quite reassuring. last time we came through here, this safety boom was hanging over the edge, not providing any safety whatsoever. So for the first time in this trip, I shall give Canal and River Trust a little acknowledgement for eventually actually doing a job properly. Of course, it wasn't the managers who did this. As with everything with the Canal and River Trust, it's the people on the ground that do all the proper work and generally do it well, whereas people sat in offices, we now have proven evidence following this trip, probably should all be issued with a P.12 because they and their systems are quite evidently not fit for purpose. So look at that lovely safety boom put in place by people doing their job properly. Salute to you, British Waterways heritage taken into Canal and River Trust, who then try and dismantle everything that was good. Canal and River Trust have taken the worst of what was British Waterways and put a nice corporate newspeak bollocks stamp on everything. So, you know, we are, as business operators, as commercial operators, we are partners. We're not. They hate us. They hate Canal and River Trust, hate waterways businesses. Ask any waterways business and they'll say that dealing with the Canal and River Trust is always now seen as being akin to going to the dentist without any form of pain control. Which is why, and again during this trip, proven once again, whenever we have to deal with the Canal and River Trust, we always know it's going to be difficult. We always know that they are going to be as difficult and obstructive as possible. That's why we decided last year to jack this business in. If it weren't for COVID, this boat would have been gone by now. So, you know, COVID's done us a sort of favour because we've had another opportunity just to enjoy one last kind of, well, we're going to have a couple other little jaunts I expect, but one last massive adventure down to the Chesterfield Canal. But that's in spite of, not with the support of, the Canal and River Trust, who left us during this 16-day holiday very much legally exposed by virtue of their systems removing our license and invalidating our insurance. Completely negligent, criminally negligent on behalf of the Canal and River Trust, and something that will not be forgiven or forgotten and will be the subject of upcoming legal action. Absolutely appalling. I'm speechless as to the ineptitude that they have demonstrated. But for the people on the ground, the lock keepers, etc., salute. Can't fault them. That apple does not want to be washed away. Fantastic. You cling on, mate. And we got something else stuck behind the lock gate. Oh well. Good for you. You stay there, mate. Oh, that's it. Last lock on the Tinsley flight. back in Sheffield. Oh, what a smashing couple of weeks. I gotta say, I think we had one day where I managed to jinx the weather by saying to someone on the lock by the lock keepers at Shire Oaks, I said to this guy, we've had brilliant weather, and about 2 hours later it pissed it down. But that's about it. We haven't had any real bad weather at all. And a little bit on the Trent, if you've seen that video, where it's a little bit choppy, just adds to the fun. It weren't bad, it was just a bit windy. Wonder what happened to that little girl behind us. I say little girl, she's neither little or a girl. Pretty enough, but you know, can't unsay that now, can I? I might edit that out. Oh, sod it, of course I won't edit that out. This is me. Because she were going down to London one day and then banging on through. So she's going to have some fun with them big locks, unless she sort of like manages to sort of like hook up with somebody else. And there's another girl coming up in another boat, and we suggested yesterday that she'd try and sort of like come through with us, because it'd be a lot easier, because again she's on her own. Gotta hand it to these women. They full respect, I'm not sure I'd want to do those big commercial locks on my own, but especially if I was not experienced, which apparently, yeah, this one coming up from London got no real experience of cruising. Bought a boat to live on, because that's the only affordable thing to do in London, unless you're well fucking minted, or Russian or something. Oh, that was a statistic someone said. Never mind, no, doesn't matter. I'll save that one for another time. Yeah, we're back. So now 30 minutes away from the boathouse, where we will return to whatever sort of passes as normality. I'm not sure, in the age of COVID, that's a term anyone can reasonably apply to life at the moment. But we have had a terrific couple of weeks away. It's been brilliant. I had a smashing walk with Roz, Benji and James, which is a little bit longer than I expected. A couple of visits to Chris and Gemma at Harrison's Brewery. Met up with this guy Spider at last. Discovered a new brewery on the Gainsborough stretch of the canal. It's been rather jolly, and I got my haircut, in case I didn't mention that. I had my haircut for the first time this year. Fucking hell. So instead of looking like Wurzel Gummidge and a bit of a tramp, I actually look reasonably, I say reasonably, still look a bit of a tramp, but I look reasonably trimmed. Still got purple hair and 10 earrings in. That's only for the Zoom meetings, just to make a point. But I trimmed my beard. I trimmed a big purple beard. So we're ever so gradually getting back to the way we should be now. And yes, I hope you've enjoyed these little videos. I've enjoyed making them, and I shall enjoy making them again when we get away in the autumn up to Leeds to go and experience the Northern Monk Brewery near Granary Wharf in Leeds. So that's to come. However, I fear boating videos for a while will not be that abundant, but I have got a couple of brews, so there'll be a couple of brewing videos, and I've got a couple of burns. There'll be a couple of burn videos, and there might be a couple of just chat videos, just to keep you in case you're still bored or furloughed, just to keep you away from the tedium of daytime television. Of course, there's always Pornhub, but You know, this is far better. Well, we've got back to find obviously fucking stupidly low levels of water, so low that we can't actually moor. I'll tell you how low it is. That down there is one of the old wooden pilings for the wharf that was here nearly 200 years ago, and you never normally see that down there. So we are fucked. We can't moor. We're just gonna have to leave Mustn't Grumble stuck out like this, offload stuff from the back onto Olin Water here, and then hope that the fuckwits at Canal and River Trust manage to get some water into this canal. And just look at the erosion under there. You don't know it's it until there's not a lot of water. But this is as far as in as we can get the boat at the moment. So yeah, a nice offloading task, and keep an eye on the water. But it really is just like, that's pretty much all of this fucking year that there's been virtually no water in this canal, all of this year. Well done, Canal and River Trust. They really are a complete bunch of fuckwits.